Hello, everybody. Welcome to our webinar today. We are so excited to talk about TikTok hooks. This webinar, we actually did this webinar earlier this year, I think like maybe March or something, and it was a success. So we had to do it again because hooks are so important. So we're excited to get into it, but I have a question for all of you before we get started. So today is Mental Health Day. So I want to know how you decompress after work. So is there something that you do when you're done work to just help you relax into the evening? Let us know in the chat. I always love to know what other people do. Lyle, what do you do?
I go on walks after work, sometimes against my will, but I do it. And then when I'm on the walk, I'm like, oh, this was a really good idea. So that's what I'm trying to do before it starts snowing here.
Yes, that's a good call. And before it's like dark.
Yes.
By the time we are done work.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people saying walks with their dog. I also take my dog for a walk after, and then I really like cooking. So sometimes I'll make something fun for dinner, and that's a fun little way to decompress.
You're taking a cooking class, aren't you?
I am. I'm in an 8-week cooking class. So I go every week, and it is so much fun. So now I'm like learning so many things, and now I'm like, I need to try to make this. But I can't make anything too extravagant during the week that takes like hours, but it's always fun.
Fair. I've seen some of Alyssa's pictures of her food, you guys, and it looks so good.
It's very good. I will say it's good, but only because the teacher teaching us is very good. So I just steal all his recipes. So
Fair.
that makes it easy.
About it.
Exactly.
I think someone said cold plunge or sauna. That is amazing. Although I feel like I'd prefer the sauna. I'm a little bit scared of a cold plunge.
Me
But
too.
maybe one day I'll work up to it.
I am such a baby, even going into like a cold lake. So I would probably be a huge baby with a cold plunge, but I love a sauna.
Yes.
I wish I had a sauna.
That would be amazing.
Love it. Love it. Thank you everyone for sharing in the chat. So many good things here. Keep sharing what you do to decompress after work, and we will get right into it. So if this is your very first webinar with us and you're wondering who we are, so we are HeyOrca. So we're a social media scheduler for teams and agencies. So we are here to assist you with all of your social media needs. And we have unlimited users, which is very cool. So if you are not a HeyOrca customer and you're interested in learning more, definitely check us out. And we'll do a quick round of intros. So my name is Alyssa, and I'm a community manager here at HeyOrca. So I work on our webinars, our newsletter, Facebook group, all of that. And I'll pass it over to Lyle.
I'm Lyle, spelled Lysle, but the S is silent. And I'm the writer at HeyOrca. And before I worked here, I was a social media manager. And I'm super excited to be here today to talk all about hooks.
Love it. Love it. Yes, we're so happy to have Lyle on with us. Whenever Lyle is on a webinar with us, the webinar is so good. She's just great at hosting. So nice. We love it. And also we have giveaways. So there's 2 different ways to win a $25 Amazon gift card. So the first way to win is head to our LinkedIn page. We currently have a poll going on, and Jesse just put the link to the poll in the chat. So vote on that poll. The question on the poll is, do you use visual and verbal hooks when creating a video? So go vote on that poll. And then tomorrow at noon, I'm going to be randomly selecting someone who voted to be our first Amazon gift card winner. And now the second way to win is share what you learned from this webinar on LinkedIn and tag us. So for this one, you actually have until Tuesday at noon, because I know sometimes it takes a while to write a LinkedIn post. I know for myself, it takes me so long. So you have until Tuesday, and I'll give you a little hint. we've seen some people in the past take a screenshot of a slide that maybe has some really good information on it that they want to remember, and they include that in their post. So that makes it really easy. So that is the second way to win. So just share what you learned in this webinar and tag us, and you could be the second winner. And I do want to shout out Emily. Emily is our winner from last week. So she shared on LinkedIn everything she learned in our webinar. And last week was our social media news for September webinar. So she was letting us all know what news headlines stuck with her most. So shout out, Emily. And we have a few exciting things to talk about before we head into it today. So if you didn't know, HeyOrca actually has a free plan, and the first cohort of people that signed up for it now have access to it. But if you didn't get on the list the first time, don't worry, because there's going to be a second cohort on October 17th. So if you are interested, the free plan is great for personal brands, creator accounts, passion projects, and small accounts with minimal post requirements. And you can also add 2 social channels on it, and you get 10 posts per month. So it's an awesome plan to have. So if you want to be on the list for the next cohort, Jesse just put the link to that in the chat. So definitely sign up there, because we will be releasing it to more people on October 17th. So very excited for this. And the other exciting thing is we literally launched a course today, a few hours ago. So you are one of the first people to know about it. But this course in HeyOrca's Academy is all about community-led content. So it's hosted by Joe, our CEO, and then Christina Garnett, who I'm sure you all follow on LinkedIn because she's amazing. But yes, they go over how you can create community-led content for your audience. So definitely check that out. It just came out, so we'd love to know what you think of it when you try it out. And yeah, I'm very excited about it. And one more thing, I feel like I have so many fun things to talk about before we get into it, but next week's webinar, we actually are going to be discussing HeyOrca hacks. So we rarely have a webinar that is like all HeyOrca focused, but this one is going to be really fun for customers and non-customers. So if you're someone who's been thinking about HeyOrca but haven't actually signed up yet, this would be a good one to check out, because you'll be able to see a ton of hacks that you can do within the platform. We're going to have Nabil from our customer care team on it, and then 2 of our customers, Molly and Madeline, will be on it with us as well. So I can grab the link to that here, and I will pop it in the chat if you would like to come learn about all the hacks.
Nice. I'll just add too, if you are someone who really wants to use, if you're a HeyOrca customer and you really want to use your HeyOrca referral code, you have like certain friends in mind, tell them to come to this webinar so they can sort of get it's the closest thing to getting a tour without like actually booking a tour. So if you got that referral code in mind, this is a good one to make them attend.
That is such a good point. I love that. There's a hack.
Yeah. Free for you.
Love it. All right, so now we'll get into everything. So we have lots to cover today. So we're going to be going over the differences between verbal and visual hooks. And then we have so many examples to show you that you can walk away with. And then we'll be going over what metrics you can look at to make sure that your hooks are actually working. So I will pass it over to Lyle.
Okay, thank you. I'm super excited to look at all of Alyssa's examples. I purposely didn't look at them all so I can be surprised by some of them, but just so everyone's on the same page, we'll get this out of the way first. There are 2 main types of hooks, verbal and visual. You can probably guess what that means, but we'll cover it. But first, what the heck is a TikTok hook in general? You probably already know it's an initial phrase or action that captures the audience's attention and gets them interested in your content. And they're super important because TikTok audiences can be a little fickle and they will scroll past your video and not engage with it if they don't like your hook. We all know this. But just to really drive it home, TikTok hooks are so important. Also important for Reels. Most everything we say here also applies to Reels. Okay, so a couple stats for you. There are 34 million videos posted to TikTok every day, which is a little bit scary. It's hard to stand out, but you can do it with a good hook. We also found this interesting. 63% of videos on TikTok with high click-through rates hook their audience within the first 3 seconds. Now, this particular stat, I do believe it applies to ads. However, you can infer that the same 3-second hook rule probably applies to organic content too. So, what are visual and verbal hooks? This is my favorite part because we can get a little nerdy. So, if you think about the word verbal, many people think that is only like oral, something you say or something you hear. But it really, the word verbal means like anything to do with words. So, your verbal hook is something that you say and the text on your screen, because we want to make our videos accessible to everyone, obviously. So when we say verbal hook, we mean the thing that you say and the text on your TikTok video, not the caption, text on screen. And then the visual hook is a physical action that you take. Like, for example, maybe you start your video like do, 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 like that to get people's attention, or you drink your water, you're doing something while you film. That would be a visual hook. It doesn't have to do with words at all. And if you really want a strong hook, you combine a verbal and visual hook together. So now let's look at a list of examples.
All right, so we have so many examples here. And I took some examples from our own TikTok and then I grabbed from others as well. I will say we are in the process of growing our TikTok, so we're not getting millions of views, but we have seen that with these different hooks, we actually have seen a difference in views. So I will show you which ones have worked for us and some of our favorite ones. So the first one, you probably see this one everywhere. It's essentially you're saying, here are 3 blah, blah, blah. So you could say, here are 3 of my favorite social media tips, or whatever industry you're in, you can, relate it back to that. But this one's a really easy one, and it's nice because it lets your viewer know immediately what you're going to be talking about, because nothing's worse than when you start watching a video and you cannot grasp what the video is about, and it's like 5+ seconds in and you just don't really know. So it's good to just let your audience know immediately, this is what you're going to get out of the video. So I'll show you an example of us doing this. Yes, our TikTok is at HeyOrca. All right, so let me grab this first video here. Here are 3 updates from Instagram this week. Some creators may have noticed that they now have access to profile cards. So these cards will show a QR code for easy follow. Then the card will flip over and it will show your name, profile picture, and about section. Shout out to... I won't play the whole video because it's like 42 seconds. We won't go through all of the 3 Instagram updates, but at the very beginning, I say here are 3, and then we will be going over this in a little bit, but I am holding a mug, which I do a lot in the videos because I find that it helps with views. It's so odd, but it helps. So it's like you're pairing that verbal and visual hook in one. And so, for example, these videos that I do about the social news roundup always get stuck in that like 200 to 500 view range. Let me know in the chat if you can relate to that. I feel like on TikTok, it's like you're in like a TikTok jail. You cannot get past a certain number of views, but using this type of hook, this one actually was over 1,000 views. So that was like double of what we're used to for this kind of video. So we'll definitely continue with that verbal hook. So here's another one, and shout out Jessie. She is in the chat right now, and this is her video. But another good one that's similar to the one we just saw, but here's how I blank. So again, you're telling your viewer immediately what you're about to show them. They don't need to sit there and guess what your video is about. They know immediately if it's something they want to watch. So for example, when we use this one, again, sometimes we'd be stuck between that 200 to 700 range for this kind of video, but this one actually was 1,453, which is great. That's, double or more than double of what we usually would do. So here is the example of this one.
Here's how I manage my community with HeyOrca. First, navigate to your social inbox. I've selected Instagram and LinkedIn as the platforms I want to look at right now. Here are the mentions and replies that pop up. Now to reply to each message. Today, I wrote my own reply, but sometimes I will use our AI reply suggestions if I have some writer's block. As you can see, I've now replied to every single comment and mention left on our pages. Now I select them all, and I can resolve them.
I let that one play a little longer just so you could see how it works. But as you can see in Jessie's video here, she got right to the point. She let the viewer know immediately, here's how I manage my community, and then gets right into it. So showing your audience, again, like exactly what you are about to go over in the first couple of seconds. Now, here is another one. So this kind of prompt is, if you're a blank, how do you blank? So you could relate this back to your industry. So it could be like, if you're a social media manager, how do you measure engagement or something like that? So you just pop in those blanks, whatever is industry specific, and asking that question at the beginning. This is also really helpful to get comments on your video, because if someone maybe does something different than you, they'll let you know in the comments. So it's a really good way to get engagement on your video as well, but also you're capturing their attention because maybe it's something that was a pain point for them and they're needing to know how to actually do it. So I will show you this example here.
If you're a social media manager, how do you get rid of all your photos? I'll go first. Our new bestie, Google Photos. I went from having over 17,000 photos down to 0. All I had to do was download Google Photos and sign up for their 100 gig plan, which is only $199 by the way. And then it just does everything for you. All you have to do is go in, press a button to delete all of your pictures, and everything is backed up. Tell me that this is not a lifesaver.
So there's a good one. And I like that it hits on a pain point that I'm sure all social media managers feel, that pain point of you have so much content and you don't know where to store it. So relating it back to your industry and connecting it to a common question or a pain point is always a good thing to do. And so for this one, when we tried it, again, the usual view count would be between 200 and 700, and this one actually got close to 3,000. So we love that. And again, this one told the viewers immediately what they'd learn as they keep watching the video. And now this is not from us, but this is from, I believe, Supergoop, the sunscreen. So this one is a good one, and I see it all the time. It's the, if you blank, stop scrolling. So I always see people use the phrase stop scrolling, like you could say stop scrolling if blah, blah, blah. So you could use a different variation of it if you want, but this is a really good way to get people to stop in their tracks when scrolling and watch your video. And as we know on TikTok, like my attention span is very short. So if someone tells me to stop scrolling and it's related to something I'm interested in, I probably will stop and actually watch the video. So here is the example for this one.
If you love sunscreen, stop scrolling. You're going to want to hear this. We are doing 20% off site-wide now until December 14th. Run to our website right now to stock up on all your faves before it's too late.
So that one is also good because it's nice and short, and they're giving you, they're letting you know there's a sale right now. So that one's always good. So if you compare your stop scrolling hook with maybe a promotion of some sort, I feel like that's always really handy. And here is another one. So this prompt is, this is what happens when blank. So you could do something obviously connected to your industry. Maybe it's something that is like a common misconception or something in your industry. And you can show your audience what actually happens when you do it. So I'll show you this example here.
This is what happens when the lake is frozen, but you still want to go paddling.
It doesn't take a genius to figure out that frozen water is not all that great for paddling on, but I wasn't going to let that stop me. So as you can see, the lake was totally frozen over. I got back into some more comfortable clothes.
I won't play this whole thing because it is almost a minute long, but you can see that right away, I was intrigued to see how is he going to do this. So I will get the presentation back up here. So yeah, this is a really good one to really hook your audience right away, especially if you're doing something like what he's doing, like how is that even going to work if it's something that people automatically think won't work, but you prove them wrong. So this one is a really good hook to use to capture your audience. And I just saw Michael's message in the chat. So here is, and I'll pause on this slide for a minute. So if you want to screenshot this one, you can save it, and you can even use it in your LinkedIn post if you wanted to share what you learned. But here are 20 verbal hooks that you can use. So the ones that we just went over are on here as well. And then there's some other good ones, like here's the truth about blank. We love that. Reasons to love blank, also a good one. And then in just 10 seconds, you'll know how to blank. I feel like that one's a good one because, we don't want to watch super long videos. So if you can teach me something in a short amount of time, I will probably watch the whole thing.
You're making it so easy to win the giveaway.
I know, like I'm giving you all the ways to win.
Perfect. I think my favorite is, I bet you didn't know blank. I feel like that gets under people's skin a little bit. Like, no, I know. That's the reaction to it anyway. So I think that's a good one. But yeah, this is such a good cheat sheet.
Another one I see a lot, and I feel like this could be both like a verbal and visual one, but I see people show, especially if say it's like a cooking video, they're going to show you the ending product first, and then they'll get into the video. I think that's a really good hook as well. Or if someone's doing like a makeup video, show them that end result first and then get into how you do it, because that's a really good way to actually get them to keep watching, because they know what the end result is. It looks great, so they want to know how they can do it themselves. I see that one a lot.
So true. I have been seeing that more often.
Yeah, I love it. Or people start with a blooper, I've noticed.
I'm such a big fan of a blooper. I love a blooper.
I love a blooper. So I love when people start with a blooper and then they get into the actual video. That's always good. People love it. Awesome. So I'll leave this up for 10 more seconds if you haven't screenshotted it yet. And then we'll get into some visual ones. Just check the chat here. All right. Okay. So now we will move on to visual hooks. These ones are fun because before like creating videos, I didn't really ever think about a visual hook. I always thought like hooks are verbal, like that's what it's something you say, but it is actually crazy how much a visual hook can help your video.
It's so true. I will be the first to admit I did not know these even like were a thing until Ketsia told me like a couple months ago. Like, and now when I am scrolling all day, I am like, they're working and I didn't even know, you know?
It's so true. Yeah. Shout out Ketsia. She told us you guys have to be doing something visually.
Yeah.
And that can really help. And now it's all I notice in people's videos. So definitely try some of these out if you haven't yet. So this one's very subtle, and like at first you may not notice, And a lot of videos do this, and this one had crazy results. So this is where you zoom in and out in the very beginning few seconds of your video. And it's usually a really quick zoom in and out. And so sometimes you don't even notice that it's happening. But for example, this video that I'm about to show you, again, would usually be stuck in TikTok jail of 200 to 700 views. And this one got over 23,000 views, which is crazy. So I will show you, and you'll see how subtle this zoom in and out is. It happens a few times in the beginning, but it really, really makes a difference. So I will get this up here.
For You page is such a mess, but I don't want to create a new account. Today I learned that you can actually refresh your For You page without having to start an entirely new account. Go to your settings and privacy and then content preferences, click refresh your For You feed, and there you go, starting from scratch.
So as you saw at the very beginning, it was very short and quick zoom in and out. But once I noticed that in this one, I actually noticed it a lot in people's videos, and it's always in the intro. So very interesting, also really easy to do. So this is great. And then I wanted to play this one full because it's a really good hack. If you're on TikTok and you're not liking the content that you're seeing, definitely refresh your FYP, but it also will take a lot of work to get it to where you want it to be. So that's a disclaimer.
I see in that one, I didn't even notice the zoom in. I was hooked. I was just mesmerized.
Exactly. It's there, but you don't know it's there. So that one's a good one to use if you don't want to like outright be doing something like maybe getting ready or whatever. You just want it to be very subtle. That one's a really good one to use. And the next one you've all seen everywhere. It is the mini microphone. We love a mini microphone. It's fun. It captures people's attention. But something I will say that I've noticed a lot is if you don't have a mini microphone, I love when I see people using something so random as their microphone. So one I see actually a lot is like someone's using like a spatula or like a whisk, and they're like pretending it's the mini microphone.
That's so good.
I love it. And that's like a good conversation starter in the comments as well. So don't worry if you don't have the mini microphone. Use your imagination and just use whatever you want as a microphone. I've seen a good spoon. Yep, spoons as well. It's almost better if it's not actually the mini microphone, I think.
Yeah, I think it's good for engagement.
Exactly. But if you want to see an example of the mini microphone, here it is here.
Reporting live from the Fenty Beauty office, we're reading your comments about a certain shade of gloss bomb.
If you bring back Fuchsia Flex, I'll name my first child Rihanna. Please, for the love of God, for the love of pink, bring it back.
Whatever, don't care, I want Fuchsia Flex.
I won't play the whole video because it's long, but as you can see, it's just fun to have either the mini microphone or some sort of microphone. You can get creative with it, but that's always a good one. This one I never understood because I wasn't really doing it. And Katia said, when you film this, put your phone down as you're filming. And I'm like, okay, I will try. And it gives it a very like FaceTime feel. So it's kind of like you're sitting down with a friend and you're about to tell them something. So you're, setting up your phone. And it's very, it's not like very polished. And I think that's why it works. So for this one, and I'll show it to you in a sec, but I put my phone down and then I grab the mug. So I'm kind of doing two visual hooks at once, but this one, again, could be stuck between 200 and 700, but this one actually went to 7,500 views, which is really good compared to some of the other ones that are pretty much the same, but don't have that, beginning of me putting the phone down. So I will play it here.
Here are the biggest updates from Instagram from this week.
Instagram is rolling out a hype feature. This feature will allow your friends to add hype comments to your Instagram story that everyone will be able to see.
I won't play all of them because there's other updates in here, but as you can see at the very beginning, I put my phone down and it like made a noise even like of me putting it down. So I remember when I first did it, I was like, oh, like this is not good, because you could like hear me putting my phone down, but that's the point. So the point is to make it feel very authentic, like you're on FaceTime, and it's crazy that it actually really helps.
Yeah, I think it makes you seem like approachable. You're just a friend. Yeah. And in the chat, Rebecca says they're a flower farmer and they're going to use a tulip as a mini.
I love that. You must, and then tag us so that we can see. I love that you're a flower farmer.
Yeah.
That's the best. See, don't even use a mini mic. Like use literally anything else and it will make it even better.
Yeah.
Awesome. And let me know in the chat if you have ever put your phone down before you're filming, or not before you're filming, as you're filming. Because it definitely felt weird, but it's crazy that it actually made a difference. This one's a really easy one. So you just slide something across the screen. So it's a really good way to just get people's attention right away, and they can kind of see what you're going to be talking about if it's, a product. This would work really well if you have a product you want to show. So I will show this example here. So that one, immediately, these are for Crocs. They're showing you right away what the video is about. And it's nice and short as well. So, and that one I feel like was good when I watched it, because I didn't even know Crocs had winter shoes. So now I know. But it's a really good way to capture people's attention immediately.
I really want those shoes, not just because of the hook, but I am a big Crocs stan. I love a Croc. They're so cute. I can't.
Yeah. I think you get them. I think you treat yourself and get yourself these.
Yeah. Olivia's looking for a link to this specific one. Olivia, do you mean the Crocs one, the slide across the screen? Let us know in the chat, and
yes,
we'll try and find that link for you.
Let us know and we will find it.
If it is the Crocs one, sorry to interrupt you, Alyssa. If it is the Crocs one, I believe it's linked in our blog post on the best TikTok hooks to use. So I think Jessie can put a link to that blog post, and then there's a bunch of others there.
Yes, that one is in the blog. And then if it was the one prior where I put the phone down, that one is on our TikTok somewhere, so I can find it for you. And the one we put the phone down. Okay. Yes, that one is on our TikTok, so I will find that for you once I pass it off to Lyle, and I'll send it in the chat for you.
Beautiful.
Love it. And then I think this is the last visual hook. So this is overhead shots. So filming the intro of your video from up high instead of that usual like one-on-one view. Doing it from up high is, like a different angle, kind of captures people's attention more. So I will show you this example here.
Here's a hook idea for your next video. By now you must know how important hooks are to stop people from scrolling and actually watch your video. So I'm here to give you some ideas. After all, you're still here watching me, so my hook must have been effective. Overhead shots make basic shots just a little less basic, and it's pretty easy. You just need to find somewhere to place your phone and start shooting. Try it out and let me know what you think.
I love how this video just showed us exactly how to do it.
I'm obsessed. This is one of the ones that I did not watch before this. I love it. I'm going to steal it.
It's a good one, especially if you have like a fan or something above you. That's just a really easy way to stick your phone up. Or if you have those cases that can stick to the wall or something, definitely use that. And it's just a fun way to capture people's attention without actually having to hold something or be doing anything. You're just doing it from a different angle. So this one is very easy. And then just like the verbal hooks, we do have a bunch of visual hooks here. So these include the ones we just went over and then some extra ones as well. So I will pause on this slide so you can screenshot it. But some other ones on here that are really popular is the tapping ASMR. So if you were like having a tea, you're like, putting your nails on it. I see that all the time. You could go from standing to sitting in the very beginning of your video, or put your glasses on, go into a car. There's so many little things that I didn't even realize would be a visual hook, but they just are.
Let me know in the chat if anyone else like looked at their ceiling for things to put their phone on after the last example, because I was like, what can I use?
That's actually a good point. I don't have anything on the ceiling above me, but I need to get one of those cases that stick to everything.
I'm still a millennial though with my like pop socket.
Same. I know, but pop sockets are so comfortable.
They're so good. And I have a little in my car. This is a tangent, but in my car I have like a little pop socket holder. So when I have my Google Maps, I can just do on the. It's amazing.
There you go. Yeah, you can tell that we are millennials.
Yeah.
In this webinar.
Proud millennials.
Love it. Okay, so I'm going to change the slide in a second. So make sure you got it screenshotted. But it's now time to chat about, okay, you did your hooks, they're up, but how are you going to know if they're actually working? So Lyle is going to take us through.
Awesome. Okay. Throughout the presentation, we've obviously looked at our view count, but there are a couple other things that you'll want to look at to see if your hooks are working. I think we just have 4 here, so it's not going to be too overwhelming. The first one is average watch time. If your hook works, viewers will stay engaged and watch more of your video. So we have little screenshots here from top performing posts in HeyOrca TikTok report. So if you are a HeyOrca customer on Standard or Pro, you've probably seen this before. But you can also find this if you're not with HeyOrca, you can find it in TikTok. This text is so tiny, but you'll see that one of them has 6.9 seconds of watch time and the other one has 9 point something seconds of watch time. So you'll want to compare the average watch time to the actual length of your video. So if this one that has 6 seconds is I don't know, I'm making this up, like 30-second video, maybe you would want to see that average watch time longer. But if it's a much shorter video, that sounds great that your average watch time is 6 seconds. So you want to compare that average watch time again to the actual length of your video. And then next we have the video completion rate, which you can find in TikTok. And it's a percentage that shows you what's the percent of people that actually completed the video. So here's an example that says 11.9% completion rate. There's a whole bunch of info out there online about like, what's the industry standard for video completion rate on TikTok? You'll see things like 80%, and then you'll also see things that are like 4%. So my suggestion is to take a look at your completion rate over time and compare it to your own metrics to build your benchmarks. Because if all of your videos are like 5% completion rate, and then you have one that's like 55%, with that 55% one, the hook is probably really good, among other aspects of the video. So I would just, compare it to your own results first.
That's true. And it's actually like when you start to track these kind of things, don't get sad if it's like a lower percentage, because it is actually so hard to get someone to watch a full video. Like just picture when you're on TikTok scrolling, it's probably, 1 out of every who knows how many that you actually watch completely through. So don't get down. If this is lower with hooks and all that, it can get higher. And I feel like it's very rare for it to be like 90%.
Yeah, agreed. At least for us. If you have 90%, go you.
Yeah.
So happy for you. Not jealous at all.
Yeah, please tell us what you do to get
Okay, next, retention rate. You can find this in TikTok, and it's a graph. And basically, what you're looking for is like a little bit of a flatter slope. If you're seeing that your graph like starts up here and then rapidly drops, like a crazy drop off, then it's probably an indication that your hook is not super strong. But if your graph looks a little bit flatter, then you're probably good hook wise. And then finally, we all know this engagement rate, likes, comments, shares. Your hook does, even though it's only at the beginning of your video, it does affect your engagement rate. So if you have a great engagement rate, your hook is probably good. And if your engagement rate is not too hot, maybe take a look in your next video at updating that hook and using one of the ones from the cheat sheets, perhaps. Cool. And I think that's it from me.
Thank you. Yes, I feel like with hooks, like you think like, oh, it got really good views, but then you're like, okay, let's dig deeper here and see if people actually stayed. So it's fun to look at all the different analytics. And when I was in TikTok the other day looking at all the metrics, it's actually so interesting. I feel like TikTok has so many analytics to look at. It's so interesting. So I don't really go in there too often. Like I'll look at it in HeyOrca, but I don't go deep into things sometimes. And so when we go over there, I'm like, wow, this is cool.
As a like non-math girly, it's a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
I stick with like, I just want to see top performing TikTok. Yeah. Give those to me and I'm
good. I know. That's all I really care about is I want to see which ones are the best ones.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, that is everything. And I hope you learned a new hook today. And again, we say TikTok, but you can also do this for Reels, YouTube Shorts, wherever you're making a video. So you can apply it anywhere. So let us know if you use one and how it goes. And as a reminder, next week we do have our HeyOrca Hacks webinar. So if you want to learn hacks, if you're a customer or if you're a non-customer and you want to see how HeyOrca works, definitely sign up for that. So I'll put it in the chat one more time, and it will be a fun one. But yeah, that is everything from us.
Yay! Thanks everyone for coming. Hope to see you next week.
Thanks everyone. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.